Well, here we are, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm actually not here at the moment. Let me just scroll down and put this on the screen so everyone can see. This is a recording. We'll be live again on Friday, 5 p.m. Central Time, 11 p.m. UK. But I didn't just want to leave you guys with no show whatsoever. It seems a bit of a shame that. This to me is kind of like a regular thing. It's a time for people to come together and meet. And I notice in the chat, people are usually there chatting to one another before the thing actually starts. So if I upload this and make it a premiere, there will be live chat and you should be able to chat to one another, which has got to be good news, really. Anyway, let's talk about a few things. We'll just make a show here. We will make something happen. And the big news spiritually in the last few days is, of course, it was new moon on Labour Day. It was new moon in the early hours of Tuesday morning here in UK. But the moon is now started to wane. New moon in Virgo as well, actually. But a lot of very positive possibilities. You've always got to make the best of these things. Make the best of it that you can. But a lot of very positive possibilities indeed, and it hasn't been an easy time, about say the week or so before new moon. This week is looking pretty good though. It's all looking pretty positive, so I hope everyone's having a good time. There have been some weird dreams about. Someone mentioned that she had a dream where her kitchen window was in the wrong place and was actually in her bedroom, which was just the right place if she wanted to actually watch what was going on. But it's a bit disconcerting, isn't it? You perhaps saw my video the other day about the dream I had about shoes, and we've had some interesting theories about that. I think Tuli Lazuli had the big idea that really made sense to me, and Sam's idea as well actually made a lot of sense. What's really weird about that dream actually is the guinea pig part of it. Although that kind of adds up in the end as well. But this is the thing about dreams, it's always worth taking note of them, because they pretty well always mean something. Maybe not absolutely every time. I had a dream recently where one of my cats was wanting food, and I woke up and there was my cat, and it was first light, the early sunlight was coming in through the window. It was about kind of something like 5:30 a.m. and she just wanted feeding because it was first light and she wanted some food, so she woke me up. So all the noises and sounds that I was hearing in my sleep and the feelings of being squished by a cat were actually really happening, and I think that dream was just a part of waking up. But you never know, it's always good to take notice of dreams. No idea what the significance of that would have been, but this is it. You very often don't get to know what the significance of a dream is until sometime afterwards something starts to make sense. But yes, the shoes thing, I think the most likely explanation for that is that I'm having some trouble getting paid by YouTube at the moment and by Google. And they are good payers. I'm not criticising them exactly, but the process for actually getting paid, and you guys have been so generous leaving super chats and things, and super chat is off at the moment because they're just not sending me the money basically. But there's a form I started filling in, and I filled it all in and I sent it off, and I uploaded my driving license, and I did the whole thing pretty much as they wanted me to do it. And it seems to have got hung somewhere, and I can't get back to either finish that process or scrub that process and start the new process off. So I need to talk to a Google human being, and they're trying very hard to do without Google human beings at the moment, so that's not been easy. But I am trying, and that would kind of explain why I bought 3 pairs of shoes in the dream and I only got 1.5 pairs of shoes. It sort of adds up, really. And then the guinea pig in the kitchen phase of the dream was about the same size and shape as one of the training shoes that I wasn't able to get after I'd bought them from the store. So yeah, maybe I'm being a guinea pig. I don't know. It's really, really hard to say, really hard to tell. Let me just plug my computer in because I've noticed my battery is very low. Just lean down here, stick the plug in the hole, and there we are. Now then, oh, I've gone all white again. Took the camera a moment to readjust, but it's back. I always start the lives off with a card for everyone who is watching, and since it's not possible to ask questions at the moment because this here is a recording, as it says right there, I'm gonna just kind of pull some cards for everyone, really, for you if you're drawn to them. That's sort of how it works, really. Intuition is always positive, you know. Intuition always has a positive effect on the universal influences out there. You know, your guides, your angels know these questions that you want to ask, and you'll be drawn to a video where I hope you're going to find answers. But I will be back, as it also says down there, on Friday 11 p.m. UK time, which is 5 p.m. Central USA time. Okay, so I've cut the Moonology deck, and what we have is Time to Breathe Out. Disseminating Moon. Can you read that there? And we've got that lovely forest scene. And all the different shades of blue and white that go together when the moon is full, or as this moon is just starting to disseminate, actually. And that is the opposite of what's happening with the real moon, but this is the Moonology deck. It is a deck of cards meant for divination, and it draws our attention to where our attention needs to be drawn to at a given time. So take time to breathe out. Now, this is a lot to do with giving and receiving, and it's also a lot to do with the old saying that you can't pour from an empty vessel. Okay, now with the empty vessel thing, then that's more about taking time to breathe in, but it is really important to take time to breathe out as well. And the reason for that is abundance is a flow, prosperity is a flow, and if you don't use the resources you've been given, then new resources aren't going to come in behind them, and life can get kind of stagnant and get kind of stale under those circumstances. So it's important to breathe out all the good stuff that's come to you, share the love around the world as much as you can, and then more energy comes in. It really is that simple. And, well, not all that simple because it took me a good few minutes to explain it there. But take time to breathe out, guys. You know, that's what it's all about, really. There's nothing else written on that card, but I'm looking at it. I'm seeing the beautiful night sky with all the stars in it. I don't know how well that's coming out. But it's just a reminder of how big the universe is, really, and how endless are the possibilities of the universe. They are absolutely without end. They are absolutely amazing. Okay, so with that and that thought of breathing out, let's think about the power of kind of sending distance healing. Sending good energy out into the world is what it's really all about. But there are so many ways of doing it. Sending distance healing is a great esoteric thought. It's a great esoteric subject and well worth thinking about quite deeply. And when I say thinking, I mean meditation most certainly, but also thinking about it just, you know, in your ordinary everyday thoughts, carrying that thought around with you, holding that thought as it were. Now, people who don't believe in psychic stuff will tend to think that distance healing is just absolutely crazy. Some people charge money for it, and you know, we're accused of being a rip-off because there isn't actually any physical transaction. But does that matter in a metaphysical world? And does it matter what people think about us and think about this practice of energy healing if they don't believe in it at all? There is really no point in trying to make people believe stuff. This is a very important thing that we learn on the way to mediumship or whatever esoteric thing that we actually do, that we want to learn to practice. And I was taught quite firmly, if people don't believe, it's not my job as a medium to try and make people believe that these things are real. People find these things, people find us the spiritual community when they need us, and then the belief comes, because that's when it needs to happen. We are actually, most of us are doomed to spend quite a lot of our life in a state of disbelief about all that, because all we can really see is what's tangible. And so distance healing has kind of got this name for something that can't possibly work. But people who experience distance healing find that it does actually work, and it works in a very big way, because there is a whole realm in this world that we're not aware of until the time is right and for us, and we start to actually believe that these things are possible, that we start to see the possibilities as a real thing, and then it all makes rather a lot of sense. And almost whatever you're doing spiritually, whether it's meditation, whether it's practically getting out there and broadcasting like I'm doing, or appearing in front of people, as I'm actually doing at this moment, by the way. I've scheduled this video to go out at a time when I will be on a stage in North Wales, so that's what I'm doing right now. But whether you're out there doing stuff, whether you're running a healing clinic, whether you're just, in a state of meditation, you're tapping in to this amazing thing, and I don't exactly know what to call it. Some people see it as like a lift shaft. I've seen it as sort of a corridor, and you can kind of step out of the real world in your state of meditation, and you become aware that you can link to other places which are just kind of further down this corridor. It can be the other side of the world, and that's actually not physically impossible. Here I'm sitting in Wales, UK, yesterday, if you're watching this as it goes out, sending my thoughts and everything I'm doing out to a time tomorrow, and to a place which could be anywhere in the world, actually. Many of you are in the United States of America, right across the pond. A very long journey from here, actually. And yet, just using the internet and computer technology, this is possible. And really, it's always been possible. It just took us until this point in history to discover the ability to do it. But if it's possible with computers, then I'm sure it's all the more possible in a meditative state. And it can link you to past lives, for example. When I've done past life regression for people, it feels like me and the person who's having the regression step out into this corridor, and then it is more like a lift shaft. Actually, you can go down through time, or along the corridor through time, and you come out at one of that person's past lives, and we have so many past lives. And then you can view it, you can see it. And so it is with distance healing. It will travel as far as you want it to travel. It even travels to the higher realms. It's possible to send healing to someone in the spirit world. Now they are automatically healed when someone's body dies and they pass into the spirit world. The healing is automatic, and it's immediate as well. But it does somehow work sometimes, sending healing thoughts out. Not least because it's good for you, the person sending the healing thoughts out, as much as anything. It can help heal situations. For example, situations with parents which were never fully worked out. So often someone passes away before all the family arguments, all the family crazinesses have been properly looked into and actually dealt with. And that's something of a tragedy until you realise that that person is still there, that soul. The soul of that person is still very much alive and well. Not alive and kicking, as we often call it in UK anyway. Because the physical body isn't there to kick, but the soul is very much alive and is very, very close. I say this in nearly every live stream, so I might as well say it now. They never leave us. They step back into the shadows because it's our life now. And just like you can't see my hand is there, and now it's there and you can't see it, but it's still attached to the end of my arm, and it's still doing everything. And this is it, the spirit people will step back into another part of the amazing universe, the amazing realms, the world of spirit. But they will see you, and they will, they'll know what you're going through. They'll understand what you're going through. I'm sure we all have privacy as well. These are people who love us and care about us. So, you know, we have our privacy. But they know what we're going through, and they will do what they can to help. Sometimes they'll step forward, and you'll get a message from a medium or a deep connection with a medium, and you'll actually almost then be able to have a conversation with them. That's what it's like. They'll come to you in dreams, and they will also just sort of send love into your life, and with that they'll send good things. They'll draw people together who can help each other and make a difference. So that all of this stuff happens in this corridor where distance healing is one of the many wonderful things that goes on. So it's not too difficult to believe in, actually. You know, and on another level, just the fact that we can email each other and be in touch. For example, one of our regular viewers, Mr. Philip Corrigan, has been in hospital, and I'm happy to say he's out of hospital now, and apparently he's doing well. We had a quick exchange of messages yesterday, and apparently he's doing well. He's back to work, and everything's looking pretty good. But wonderful to be able to have an email back and forth and just understand, you know, just know where he's at, know what's happening. It's so possible in the physical world, and I'm amazed that so many people don't believe it isn't possible, because it is, you know. I'm sure we all know that. I'm preaching to the converted, really. I'm sure we all know that. But all things really are possible, particularly at a spiritual level, excuse me, because the physical restrictions don't get involved. And this is another wonderful thing that happens to the human soul when the body dies and they pass over to the afterlife. All that healing comes in, and there are no physical limitations. So, for example, if you're from a big family and, you know, a parent passes away, then that parent can be with you and can be with everyone else in the family and with their friends all at the same time if the need arises. This is particularly true of the Ascended Masters as well. And I've got two decks relating to the Ascended Masters. There's Doreen and her Ascended Masters deck, and Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light, which is pretty much the same idea and has many of the same characters in it. They send us wisdom from the other side. It's not difficult for them to do because they are actually physically unlimited. They become pure light, and they work on a basis of pure light. And actually, friends, so does the internet. Much of the internet runs on fibre optic connections, and that is how it comes to work. That's really how the internet operates. And even within our computers, there are little small, very tiny, small amounts of light travelling around in computers. Again, optical drives, we all know that expression now, I'm sure. And there are actually computers out there which are pure fibre optic. So it's very easy, actually, for people in the spirit realm, and that includes people we've loved and who've passed over to there. It includes our angels, our guardians, our guides, and our gatekeepers. They have no problem communicating through a computer because it only takes the tiniest amount of light, and that is one thing they have got in bucket loads. It's not physical light, it's spiritual light, but it's very easy for them to operate through a computer system. That's how we're all drawn together, really, on the internet as a kind of a spiritual family. And, you know, there's like the Twig brother family of you guys who are in the chat now or who are watching this in the future. And hi, if you're watching in the future, you know, this is what it's all about. It doesn't matter what the physical time is when the thing happens. Spiritually or with the internet, you can experience it again further down the line. It's pretty well true of TV as well, television. But television recordings, if we go back many years, aren't really all that good because television was meant as a disposable thing. Even some of the most amazing shows out there, at the time, people thought, well, we'll broadcast this and that'll be the end of it. So sometimes a recording wasn't kept. They would wipe over the tape and use the tape again. And sometimes recordings were kept, but they were on physical tape rather than digital copies as we have in the modern age. And so you look at something that was filmed in the 1950s and probably looked great on TV at the time, and it's all grainy, it's all over the place. But now in the digital age, things are so much clearer, and I feel very sure actually that the internet really is a part of this. I've said that several times in this video, but I can't say it enough. It's a real true thing. So let's just put this back on the screen again so everyone knows where we're at. And I'm going to pull a card actually from, oh, it's the wrong way around, Doreen Virtue's Ascended Masters deck. Okay. Sure, we all know my feelings about Doreen Virtue by now. If you don't, check out my video. I made it a few years ago, but it's still getting lots of views. It's got like something like 15,000 views on it now, loads and loads of views. And it's called Doreen Virtue, More Money in Christianity, which is what it's all about. Anyway, so let's get down to pulling a card. Here we go. Pallas Athena, detached from drama. So guys, this has got to be a message for just about everyone viewing at the moment, and doesn't mean to say we're all going through the same dramas in our lives, but when we think about TV and the media and just the, you know, that links us closely to the state of the world and what's going on in the news at the moment, which is scary stuff everywhere you look. And you've got to try and detach from the drama if you can, because that drama can take over your heart and mind, and it can make things very difficult. It can make it hard just to go on sometimes when the worries are really welled up inside you and you just don't know what's going to happen next. Excuse me, just putting the box of cards down. For example, and I'm sure as I say this you're all aware of examples of this already, but many lakes in USA are getting very, very low. Particularly, I've seen some footage of the Hoover Dam, and the lake that feeds it is very low indeed. And there are concerns about water. Usually, I don't worry about water here in Wales, UK, because it is a very, very rainy, very wet country. But it's hardly rained at all, actually, this whole year in 2021. It's due to rain on the day this video goes out, and I'll be driving in that rain, and the car will get washed for a change. I really hope, because it could do with it. It gets so dusty, and then you wash it and the dust just sticks to it again. So I'm really looking forward to a good shower of rain, and we need it, you know. Crops haven't grown very well here this year because of a shortage of rain, and we're coming to the end of our growing season, you know, and it's kind of too late for this year. Got some crops, I've got loads and loads of leeks which seem to be able to survive quite nicely on water that comes out of the taps, but there's very little water coming out of the sky at the moment. And rainwater really makes things grow. This is it. You can water stuff with tap water, and it will help. You know, it will get it moving, and it will grow. But when we get a good downpour of rain, things grow exponentially. They really rocket up and get fulsome and fat and full of health and nutrition and everything. In fact, even if you save up water in a rain barrel, which I do, you know, I'm blessed. I've still got something like 260 litres, whatever that is in gallons, I don't know. But there's 5 litres in a British gallon. I know it's different in the States and Canada, but there is 5 litres in a British gallon. So I've got a fifth of that in gallons, which is enough to last me quite a long time to water the garden with. But even though it's rainwater that I've collected off the roof through spouts and things, it's not as good as fresh rain. I don't know why that is. I guess it's because the nutrients sink to the bottom of the tank or something like that. But we really need this rain to make things happen. We've seen the big fires, you know. Wow, you know, what if someone went into a coma about 5 years ago and like woke up and Australia's burned down, California, or lots of California has burned down, and think of all the other crazy stuff that's going on in the world. In Afghanistan, the Taliban are driving around in American-built Hummers and flying around in American Black Hawk helicopters and shooting people with American guns, because such is the nature of the arms industry. Absolutely nuts, absolutely crazy, makes no sense at all, and yet that is the way the world has sort of gone, and it's happened creepingly in small increments, a little bit at a time. So it's only really if you were right away from the world for the last few years and he came back, that you would see it as a shock. So there's drama everywhere. Anyway, that's what I'm really driving at. And so important to be able to detach from that drama. And while I've had this card in my hand, I've made you aware of so much drama, but I suspect you were already aware of it, dear viewer, because even if you weren't thinking about it, subconsciously all this stuff is around us all the time, and it creates a worry at subconscious level, you see, and that's what I'm really trying to draw your attention to. So consciously detach from the drama, like Pallas Athena. She is holding this sword, which is essentially a light wand, almost like they had in Star Wars. But that's the kind of sword that really works when you try to detach from drama. It's the light wand kind of effect that cuts through things, and that's what really, really makes a difference. And so, you know, to really use that light wand, go into a state of meditation if you can, and send out your prayers for all these crazy things that are going on in the world. Now, that might not seem like detaching from the drama, but it takes the drama out of it, because then you know that you've done absolutely all you can. You know that you've sent that good energy out there and tried to make it real, try and make it actually happen. And the power of prayer is massive. It really is, because it comes from sincere-minded people, and it works out there in that corridor or in that lift shaft, whatever you see it as. It works out there in that part of our realm that we can't see with our everyday eyes, at least not when they're open, but is there and actually connects us all together. In fact, if you've ever read the Douglas Adams books, a famous British author, what did he write? I'm trying to think. The Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul was my favourite one, and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that he wrote. He talks about the universal interconnectedness of all things, as if it's like something crazy that we can't understand. And it is pretty hard for the human mind to comprehend it and understand it, actually. But that is how things just seem to work together. That's how things happen at the same time. The day this video goes out, I've got about 5 things going on, which aren't usually going on, and they've all happened on this particular day. So if you're watching this the day it goes out, maybe it's that kind of day all over the world, actually. Very hard to know exactly what's going on all over the world at any one time. But detach from the drama of it, because there's either nothing we can do about it, or the only thing we can do is pray and send out good vibes. And the people who create these situations are so very powerful and have so much money behind them that there's no kind of way any one of us could stand up to the whole thing and defeat the whole thing. In fact, there are many movements going on which are struggling to really actually take hold and make anything happen. That was the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, if we go back a little while in history, where part of Washington DC was declared to be an autonomous zone, and there was essentially no law there. Great idea in so many ways, because it was people doing things for themselves, but it was very quickly taken over by thieves, by anarchists, and it just didn't work out. It had really good astrology behind it as well, actually. I put a video out on my other channel for Astro Truth all about that, but no, sadly, you know, it all ended in tears, because there is always some kind of malefic influence going on. That's the nature of the world as well. So very, very hard for us to stand up to any of these problems and any of these peoples in a super meaningful way that actually gets something done. But the Great Spirit who gave us the universe is in charge of absolutely everything. And when we send our prayers out, when we send our positive thoughts out, we send out a lot of very, very strong energy, which really does have an effect. We don't get to know the effect, because once we send that energy out, it hasn't got our own name on it. So, you know, we just send it out and hope for the best. And very often the best does happen, because in the modern age, I'm thinking, I mean, you know, first I think of going back to the time of the Vietnam War, then I think about going back to all the stuff that happened in the 50s with nuclear proliferation. And then I go back to the Second World War and the First World War, and that seems to me to be when all the craziness really started. But we can go back before then, you know. For example, there's a famous mouthwash on sale in UK, and possibly in the States as well, because it was invented there, Listerine. and it was invented as a floor cleaner. They were trying to find a way of cleaning floors, and it wasn't very good at that for doing that. But such was life in those days that the chemicals they used were much more benign, and they were able to make it into a mouthwash. And so to this day, we're cleaning our mouths out with Listerine, which is just helping someone not to have wasted all their money long time, over 100 years ago, when they invented this floor cleaner that wouldn't work. That's, you know, that's how crazy life is, and that's how far back it goes. But there's so much we can do about it. With positive intentions, we can always make a difference. It doesn't have our name on it, so it feels maybe like we haven't succeeded. Sometimes it feels, God forbid, that we'll never succeed. But if we all keep staying positive, if we all keep sending out good affirmations, good thoughts, doing good for other people whenever and wherever we can, we are actually going to make a difference, you know, because the people that run the shop are just not tuned in spiritually at all. Fact of life, way it goes. Okay, guys, well, I'm sorry I'm not able to answer any of your questions here, but this is a recording. But I will be live again Friday, 5 p.m. Central USA, 11 p.m. in UK. And come along to that live stream, please, and ask your questions, and I will do my very best to answer them and pull cards for you. And something I love about live streams, actually, is that I can pull a card for a person whose name appears in the chat, and they ask a question, and I'll pull a card, or I'll use the pendulum or something. I'm going to pull another card now. And here we go. Actually, this goes very well. I pulled it at what seems like at random to me, but it seems to go very well with what I've just been talking about and the message that we're all thinking about. What can we do in this world? Keepers of the earth, right? And it says, you are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. And there's something I didn't mention, actually, ancient ancestors. And this is why it's so good to detach from the drama in the real world, everyday world kind of sense, because in a meditative state, we become aware of the ancient ancestors, the people who've gone before, and they stand behind us, just like this angel is standing behind this lady who's praying down at the bottom of the card there, and great wings spreading out to show that you really get your wings when you start working with angels, when you start working with spirit, the realms of spirit, the great spirit, and of course the ancient ancestors who are standing beside us all the time. Well, guys, that's kind of short and sweet, but I did want to create an opportunity for people to actually come together and have a chat on the chat. I'm not going to make a habit of this, by the way. This is very much a one-off. There's another medium who I work with. Her name is Sammy, and she's pretty much living in Mexico now. And she's come back just for, I think for 3 weeks she's back, and we are going to go out and do a service together. Well, we're doing it right this minute, actually. And I wouldn't normally leave the live behind, because this is essentially my spiritualist church in so many ways. Or the one I run, it belongs to Spirit and the angels, really, and my guides, Rosalie and Twig brother. But this is kind of where I'm based spiritually, and I want to keep doing this. I've only taken this on because it's a chance to work together with Sammy, doing what we do best, which is standing on a stage in front of people and connecting them very directly with their loved ones in the spirit world. I mean, there are many mediums around, and I've worked with many of them. I've had that privilege, but she is special because we learned from the same teachers. We did some of the same courses at the same time. We've all done the same courses. We've both done all the same courses, but she was on different ones than I was on. Same course, different time, you know what I mean? But we did some training together, and we started working together in 2016, and it's great. We bounce off each other. Now, I've tried working with some other mediums as a regular thing, and it's never really worked out, because when you work as a team of mediums, you get the same spirit guides working together as well. And so one medium will give out something or other, and then the next medium will jump up and add something to it, which is how it works. And when Sammy and I work together, that's really how it goes, and it's wonderful. But I did work with several other mediums who were offended that they'd give out part of the message, and then I'd stand up and say, oh, did he have a white motorcycle as well? And the other medium would be really fed up that they hadn't done that whole message themselves, and that the guides had worked with me as well. Difficult, so you have to find someone that the energy flows really well with. And also, Sammy is an amazing healer, an amazing spiritual teacher as well now, actually. And it's always good to be out there in her vibrational field, as it were, and working. So that's what I'm doing right this minute. Well, actually, probably by this minute, I'm probably in the car, starting the car up, ready to come back to my home. But I won't get here till midnight, so I didn't postpone the show. I made this video instead. But yeah, one off. I will be back on Friday, 5 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. UK. Again on Sunday, 3 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. UK. And next Wednesday, we will be back. We will be live, and this whole thing is going to happen again, only you guys are going to be in the chat asking questions and chatting to each other, sending each other good thoughts, sending each other healing. This is really important. This is what really matters about the work that goes on the Twig Brother channel. So with that, friends, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic time ahead. If you'd like a private reading, please contact me 35and83@gmail.com. It's scrolling across your screen now. If you would be good enough to support me in my work, donations are very, very welcome indeed through coffee.com/twig or paypal.me/Twig Brother, and those have been scrolling across your screen right the way through this video. They're also down there in the description. And big thanks to you guys who've supported me in the past. Couldn't do without you, I really couldn't. So guys, be good to each other, which I'm sure you are doing. Have a fantastic time ahead. More videos coming all the time, so hit the subscribe button. And if you never want to miss one of my videos, make sure you ring the bell. Okay, that goes with the subscribe button. It opens up and there's a bell, and ring the bell at the top that says all notifications, then you won't miss one. Please drop a like on this, leave me a comment if you like. Once this goes up, the live chat doesn't seem to appear for a good few hours afterwards, so if you're watching the upload version of this, why not leave a comment? It helps us to share the journey, helps our spirit guides get zeroed into each other. And so I will see you again in a future video. Take very good care of yourselves, my friends. Love to you, light to you, blessings and peace.